Are you? Are we expecting anybody else to join, Corey?
No, unless Richie or Amy shows up.
Okay. Well, then I'll go ahead and call us to order. Thanks everybody for joining the. Looks like many of us remotely. The August Lake Forest Parks and Rec Advisory Board meeting. Thanks for pulling us together, Corey. Appreciate it. Corey sent out the agenda earlier. Hope you all got a chance to see that. Let's take a quick, well, let's see, hold on a second. Should we do a quick round of introductions?
Yeah, we should actually.
Real quick, yeah. I'll start. Hi, I'm Tyler. Tyler Dittman. I'm the chair of the Parks and Rec Advisory Board. How about if I pass it to Maurice?
Hello, I'm the newest member here. I'm Maurice Jones. I've been in the neighborhood for, I say close to 25 years. And I know some of the people here on the panel. And I actually work at a radio station down south. And it's called KBRU. So if you guys get a chance to listen, it's online. We're playing all types of music and all types of events. This pass to Linda.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Linda Holman. I'm also one of the newer but older members of the park board, having been in the park board many years ago and also when it was community services. So here I am again.
Want to pick someone? Richie, why don't you go?
Introduction. Hi, I'm Richie. I'm a resident of Lake Forest Park for almost a decade now, and I volunteer at many places, including this at the Parks and Recreation Board.
Josh?
Hi all. I'm almost home and able to turn my camera on, but I'm Josh. I've been on the Parks Board for I think 3 years now and lived in Lake Forest Park for 8. And I've got a bunch of kids in school, a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old and a 9-month-old. And I'm a biologist and an ecologist, and I love our parks.
Kim?
Oh, okay. I was just wondering who the other City of Lake Forest Park box is down there, but.
Oh, it's my computer.
Oh, I see. Even though you're there.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Kim Josend. I am currently president of the Lake Forest Park Stewardship Foundation. And we thank you for inviting us to introduce ourselves to you. I think maybe many of you already know a lot about us. I know Linda does. I know Maurice does. I actually live right up the street from Maurice. Known him for 21 years at least.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will pass it off to John Brew, who's actually in the room there with Corey. He's my secretary treasurer.
Yeah, I'm John. Lived in Lake Forest Park since '89. I'm the secretary and treasurer for the Stewardship Foundation, but my main passion is I do restoration work at Grace Cole and 5 Acre Woods. That's my happy spot. So.
And our legacy parcel, and he helps out people in their private yards. He does a lot.
Yes, and we're going to be happy to have him at Blue Heron.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
Ashton?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Ashton McCartney, and I am currently on City Council, and I have been a resident of Lake Forest Park. I guess I'm going to divulge my age, but same year as John. So lifelong resident, absolutely love it here, and very big interest in the Parks Board because I actually live next door to Horizon View Park. So I frequent there probably 1 to 3 times a day. I have young kids, so I absolutely love this. I'm so glad to be a part of it and hear what you all have going on. So thank you for letting me join.
Fantastic. That's everyone, right? I can count around the table there. Thank you all. Let's see, next on the agenda is actually the adoption of the agenda. So please take a look at that, and members of the board, let me know if you have any questions or comments, or if you'd like to approve that. Or move to approve it, I guess, in a second.
Anyone?
I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. Anybody on the board?
Have no minutes today. It's just agenda.
Then I don't move to approve the minutes. That would be wrong.
Right.
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
And we got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's a lot of ayes. Any nays? Okay, great. So that's our agenda. So we're going to, although I think the first point is that there actually aren't yet meeting minutes to approve, so we can skip that one for now and get right into business. So thank you for putting this together, by the way, Corey. First on the list is the Stewardship Foundation. So let's just jump right in that. That's the fun stuff.
Thank you. I didn't actually see a written agenda, although Josh tried to show me on his phone briefly. But I don't know how much time we have. Corey?
You have time. You're fine.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to
Not a
share
lot
my
more on the
screen.
agenda.
And for those of you who know a lot about the foundation already, forgive me if we repeat things. This slideshow was made for another purpose, and parts of it I'm probably just going to skip over because really we're here at the Parks Board to talk about the parks. But I think people are always surprised to find out how many different things the stewardship is involved in. And mostly I also want to emphasize that we are volunteers as well. So we truly appreciate the Parks Board volunteers and people like Linda, who have been a volunteer in so many capacities, including on our board. And those of you like Richie, who do a lot of other things for the city. And unfortunately, I don't know all of you, but it's amazing to live here in Lake Forest Park because so many citizens step up and put in their time. It's just fantastic. So I'm going to share my screen and see if I can get this thing to run. So everybody see that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is, like I said, it's just a general introduction to the foundation. So we'll skip through it a little bit fast, but we are community-based. We're very hyper-local environmental organization, the only one here in Lake Forest Park. We are a 501c3. We do have a mission statement. It's been the same mission statement for decades. It's to contribute to the well-being of the community. And we really do focus on the natural environment. And of course, parks and open space are a big part of that. We began, as we've always liked to say, a scrappy band of neighbors. And that came from when this group got together to protect Grace Cole Nature Park. Have all of you been to Grace Cole? I would hope so. As a Parks Board, that you've toured all of our parks, you're aware of them all. This was our sort of crowning, not a crowning achievement, but our opening achievement. And the foundation was founded from the effort to save Grace Cole Nature Park. And over the decades, we've helped our city gain either by direct fundraising, grant writing, campaigning, or other methods like facilitating an intermediate buyer for some of the parks. We have helped save our gain 24 acres of parks and open space for our city. And this slide will need to be updated because we need to add, I don't know if you can see a pointer at all, but add 2 more acres to 5 Acre Woods, the Rose property acquisition last year.
Does that mean we need to rename it?
Yeah, well, that's a question that's out there, actually. People are very attached to that name, so I don't know. We'll see. So back to Grace Cole. If you're familiar with this map on the right is our Salmon's Guide to Lake Forest Park, which we published years ago. And it shows you can see that the grayed out areas are the topography and the streets, and the emphasized areas are the parks and the streams. So these are our priorities. And at the time, it was all about 28th Avenue leading up to Grace Cole Park. That whole area is under threat of development. And at the time, the corner that is Grace Cole Park was under threat of development. This is what it looked like before.
Yep.
It was a mud hole, and people drove their four-wheel drives through there. People dumped stuff there. Was not an attractive area. You can see that it wants to be a natural pond. And at the time, they were going to fill it and build, I don't know how many, 7 homes, 8 homes there.
Yep.
And this is what we created, a haven for wildlife and people alike. And I just added the beaver down there in the corner because we've now have a beaver family up there in the last couple of years. The Stewardship Foundation, as part of our efforts to save these lands, these properties that have become parks, we have pledged to and fulfilled that pledge every year since to help maintain and improve these parks. Literally, I don't even know the number, thousands and thousands of volunteer hours put in at the parks. And we usually have a lot of fun doing it. This is a fun one to see. This is on the left is the really early restoration of of Grace Cole. You can see before anything was planted in there, and the boardwalk had just been built. And then on the right is what we see today. Although many of those trees are now gone thanks to the beavers. It's a little bit more open. Yeah, so we do a lot of park maintenance and improvements. We do it in all sorts of ways. We do it with volunteer efforts. We do it with grant writing. We do it with volunteers or businesses that donate materials. And we've built structures in some of the parks. And in the early days, the city didn't have a lot of budget for those things. So we built the kiosks. We built a shed to store all our tools there at Grace Cole. And this was just from last year's annual meeting, listing our accomplishments at Grace Cole Park. The Stewardship Foundation has a long history of collaboration and partnership with the city on many fronts. And all of these things that we are able to do at the parks are supported by the city by providing us wood chips, or support with installation of things that is beyond our ability to do, or especially hauling away the mountains and mountains of ivy and blackberries that we have pulled out of the parks. So this is just some of the things that we did last year at Grace Cole. The other big park that we spent most of our time, or more recently spent a lot of time on, was the campaign to save 5 Acre Woods. And many of you may know about that one. It was a huge groundswell of support from the neighborhood, schools, especially Lake Forest Park Elementary School, and other community groups joined us in that effort to both raise the funds and write the grants with the city to save that area, which is a mature forest. It's a tributary to Lion Creek. It has a wetland and steep slopes and has a historic home site on it. And now we own the property. This also needs to be updated to show that just to the south, the city has now acquired 2 more acres there. Last year was 400 volunteer hours. This park, the picture on the left, is actually from when it was first acquired. As you can see, it was really encumbered by ivy up all the big trees. So the first order of business was to get huge volunteer work parties in there to save the trees. You probably know all about ivy's danger to the tree canopy. And so that was our first emphasis. And if you go to 5 Acre Wood today, you will not see ivy up the trees. That was the first effort. And I think we've been completely successful there. Doing a lot of native plant planting and hosting a lot of volunteer groups from Liberty Mutual is just one example given here. Lots of scout troops, neighborhood kids, birthday parties. People come and work in the park. It's amazing. This is a map from the grant application. If you look at it, it's kind of confusing, but the idea is about where we would put in trails. This also needs to be updated and show where we have actually completed the trails. We have stayed out of the wetlands and mostly built the trails, you know, on the upland areas. Another thing Stewardship did, if you drive around Lake Forest Park, is that all of these signs you see, this stream is in your care, marking all of our streams. Those are paid for by the foundation. We've put in benches over the years, although again, I think this needs to be updated because some of these need replacing now. I think it's been so long. We put benches along the Burt Gilman and in various other walking areas in the city. And we bought the signs for the parks, although 5 Acre Woods still doesn't have a sign. And we bought a new park sign. You probably know about this from Corey for Grace Cole to talk about the beavers. And that's shown here on the right. This one, we've run into a lot of hiccups in getting it installed. So it's, as far as I know, still not out there. Is that right, Corey?
We got the brackets. We're working on the brackets.
Yeah. So it seems to be there's, you know, there's always institutional memory loss, I think, in a city. It's just common, any organization. We don't know where the brackets came from, that in the first signs, the 2 upper ones, the salmon and the headwater signs. We don't know where those brackets came from, the mounting brackets. So we want to have this sign. It's not actually bigger than the other 2. We want to have it beside the other 2, right out there on the platform to show, explain to people how the park has changed and what the beavers are up to. So those signs are sitting there at Public Works. Hopefully someday they'll be out there. This part of the presentation is not quite as geared toward parks. These are other things that Stewardship does. We monitor development. We look at development applications. We comment. We hope for, you know, solid environmental protections on these lots that are developed. We really do educate the public about saving our tree canopy. We try to work with the city on good, strong conservation policies. Been involved in all of the updates of the tree code over the years. Forest is our middle name. So trees are probably the most important ecosystem value we have here in Lake Forest Park. And it's imperative that we keep our big trees for so many reasons. We support local research projects. We are very fortunate to have on our board. We have several scientists who have projects going, and we support them by paying stipends to their students or you know, helping them with grant applications because it helps them to have a community organization involved. We bring in volunteers. On the left side, you see Dr. Jeff Jensen and his remote site incubator. And actually there's Sally. Many of you know Sally Yamasaki. Where we hope to someday reintroduce kokanee salmon into our streams. We also have Brian Saunders. He's not pictured here, but he's leading up the Stream Keepers effort. And that map below shows all the testing sites that on a monthly basis, he has volunteers out in our streams checking for water quality. This talks about what they do. They look at the organisms that live in the creek. We look at heavy metals and other toxins, and talking with the city's new green stormwater specialist about testing drain filters. We do Earth Day events. We work on promoting access to nature. Habitat restoration is, of course, key. That's what John kind of spearheads for us. We've had some active projects restoring in-stream habitat, some pretty big, they're big construction projects that were grant funded, where we rebuilt the stream channels for better flow and habitat. We installed culverts. This is before, you know, the state is now doing that in many places, but we did this project years and years ago. We also did a daylighting project where a stream had been in a culvert and we daylighted it. We'd love to do more of those kind of projects. Whisper Creek is a park up at the old Cedar Brook Elementary area. We did some stream restoration and built a bridge there. We've been placing large woody debris in the creeks over the years. This was one at McAleer. Large woody debris improves habitat for young salmon and many other species. We had the goat days. I don't know if any of you remember those.
Oh, yeah.
I know Linda helped out a lot at this event. And it was about, we brought in hundreds of goats to chomp down an area at Horizon View that needed to be controlled. And it was a fast way to do it. And it was also very fun. And yes, ivy kills trees. That's an ongoing campaign. We also have a lot of different environmental education and outreach projects. Salmon in the schools is one of the major ones. We have connections to Ridgecrest, Briarcrest, Lake Forest Park, and Brookside Elementary Schools, where they have salmon tanks and release their salmon at Grace Cole Nature Park, with the exception of Brookside, who releases at their schoolyard. So it's kind of interesting when you stand there in Grace Cole to have a look and think about thousands of baby coho have been released there in the last couple decades. It's quite amazing. We've brought in First People storyteller Roger Fernandez to the schools to talk about the salmon people. We fund water quality field trips for the schools and also Camp Rockila environmental education. We do Arbor Day activities. We haven't done one in a few years, I think since the pandemic, but we used to do tree planting visits every year, either with the local schools or preschools. We sponsored the salmon story mural. So these are we consider environmental education art projects at both Brookside and Lake Forest Park. And we build trails, and we're very interested in the neighborhood connections that the mayor's been talking a lot about, is finding those areas that are right-of-ways or otherwise unused, or city parcels that could be trails connecting neighborhoods. We would love to help support in that effort. We host the Eagle or Honor Scouts every year, and they do projects in the parks, both Grace Cole and 5 Acre Woods. We had a big campaign to certify wildlife habitats. I think Linda was involved in that too, back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
We do a lot of community outreach. We try to go to all the events that we can in the year. It's all volunteer, so as best we can, we go to the farmers market and holiday markets and things like the Green Fair, all of that. Advocating for wildlife. The picture down in the lower left is when there was a beaver at Brookside Elementary School that was a problem beaver. She was our first beaver that we really knew about here in recent years. That she unfortunately was in a bad location, building and flooding the parking lot at the school and the playground. So she needed to be relocated, and we didn't want to see her be killed. So we advocated and we worked with the tribes and the city and the Shoreline School District to save Beatrix the beaver. Oh, this was from a different presentation. If anyone wants to look at it more closely, I can share it later. Just about why beavers are good to have, even though it's kind of a bit of a headache in some places, and depending on where they settle, it can be a real problem. We did rain garden demonstration projects. We promote low impact development. We do fundraising and other educational workshops. We support, this looks like something is missing from this slide, but anyway, we support secret garden tours, farmers market, the new climate action hub and mural. We have fundraising events, and this was the salmon guide that I mentioned we're going to be reprinting it soon. Jeff Jensen has been working on updating it. It's extremely popular. We print our first print of it. So, you know, we gave it away in no time, and we have been reprinting it a few here and there, but we're going to do another big reprint soon. We're also involved with the tree walks, which I know the tree board has updated. So thank you to our volunteers. All of you are volunteers. Thank you for what you do. And this is just introduce our current board of directors. You probably see some familiar names up there. Bruce Prosser is probably one that people don't know. He's a high school member. He just graduated from Shorecrest High School. And I think he's gonna continue being active on the board. And we also have a board of advisors, mostly our previous board members. I see Julian Anderson is missing from this, but he's also on our board of advisors. And that's it. I got us to the very end. I whipped through it. I didn't leave a lot of time for you to ask questions, but you can ask questions now. I was going to end with this one quote that I think is kind of a, a central motto that we have. And we encourage people to step up and volunteer on the Parks Board, with the foundation, with Rotary, the garden clubs, and whatever way you can. All of us work together and build community and make this a better place to live. That's it. I can stop it.
Let me just jump in real quick and say thanks, Kim. That was really good. And like you said, it's a lot to summarize in a short time, but it's really amazing to see it all in one place. Actually, all the work that the Stewardship Foundation is doing. I think we all see bits and pieces of it, but it's really a key connection between the citizens, like in the parks, and the parks, and the rest of the natural habitat, of course. But we like to focus on the parks around here. So thank you for all that work. It's fantastic. I'll open it up to some questions. I see Josh has his hand up.
Yeah, I was remembering this. I was talking to former coworkers at Wild Fish Conservancy, and they mentioned that there was some talk of bringing WFC in to do water typing in Lake Forest Park. And I wasn't sure if that was a city thing or if that was through the Stewardship Foundation. So I just, while we have both here, I was going to ask.
Yeah, I don't know if John knows any different, but I do know that Brian and Jeff both are very active in the RIA 8, the watershed level work that gets done, and they're very connected with the other groups that are doing like Adopt a Stream and the other Trout Unlimited, those other groups, Save Our Salmon. So I'm not sure. Like I mean, it would be 100%.
With the water typing, it's a contract that would be with Wild Fish Conservancy to sort of categorize the nature of the streams at various points.
I would
and
say
how the
it
culverts
needs to
look.
be done. I mean, it'd be maybe it's a city-led effort. Because I haven't heard specifically of that, but it does need to be done, because we have, if you look at our salmon guide, a lot of streams in Lake Forest Park are no name streams, and there's not a lot known about them. Just the people whose backyards they run through know something about them. And so when it comes to a development application, or as Brian is building his database with the stream keepers, it's quite impressive what they're finding out about the different areas of Lake Forest Park and the different sort of runoff and which creeks are more impacted than others. It would be helpful to know more about all the little tributaries. So yeah, for sure.
All right, thanks. And we were talking earlier tonight, so thank you for all that the Stewardship Foundation does and all that.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. I did want to say, John, do you remember? I looked for it this afternoon and I couldn't find it. We had some priority items for 5 Acre Woods and Grace Cole that we had presented to the city staff when they toured with us this summer. And I went and looked for that, and I Could not find it. Was that this summer or spring? What, Corey, when we hiked around at 5 Acre
It
Woods
was in
and
June, early June.
early June? Yeah, I could not find it. I have to confess, my daughter got married in July, and there's like anything that happened before that, I kind of, I may have just phoned it in a little bit then. And so I couldn't find the list, but I wonder if that got passed on to you from when the city people toured with us. It was Mark Hoffman and the new stormwater guy, and I can't remember who else came.
Me and Mark.
Oh, Corey and Mark, yeah.
Yeah, Ian. Stewart.
And Ian from Public Works, yeah, that's right.
I don't want to guess off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, it's 5 Acre Woods, getting the invasive trees out.
Black locust trees. And then
Oh, yes. Priority number 1 was the black locust, but then Drew Epping left.
Yeah, so we're a little behind.
Yeah,
But we'll get-
well, I guess I would highlight this for the Parks Board is that we have, how many, John, how many cedar trees? They're quite large. They're 6 to 8 foot.
More than 20 6 to 8 foot cedar trees we bought with the hopes to replant in mainly 5 Acre Woods.
And it was an opportunity we had from the tribe, from the Muckleshoot tribe, to get these trees at an amazing rate. 'Cause, you know, a tree that size in a pot is hundreds and hundreds of dollars, but we got them for $25 each. So we bought these trees, we put them in a neighboring yard to the park where they're being cared for, but they can't stay in those pots forever. So it's kind of a priority for us to figure out how to get them in the ground. And as John pointed out, we are hoping to put them where the black locusts are now.
Can I throw out like 1 or 2 quick, since I'm the treasurer, one thing that amazed me, I've been doing that job for a few years. The foundation's raised about 850,000 since it started. And almost all those funds have gone back into the city, primarily into parks. So, you know, besides work, we've expended money and, we exist to do that for the parks in particular. And then just one other thing, we do our own liability insurance. So when we do work parties, we can provide people with the liability insurance as well.
Big deal.
So it is a big deal. Kim and I sweated bullets last year over that for a little while. And anyway, those are a couple other minor things we do, but important.
Wow, that's great.
Hey, John, actually, thank you for bringing that up. I think the money part of it is really important, actually. So just hearing about, I don't know, that seems to me like a lot of money to raise over the life of the foundation, and to hear that it's all gone back into the community is really astounding. But all this stuff takes time and good ideas and money to make it happen. So I think it's really important to bring attention to that. So thank you.
And on the money note, we also had a very generous donation from the Cole family that Grace Cole Nature Park is named after. And they gave us $25,000 2 years ago, John. And that money is earmarked, obviously, directly for Grace Cole projects. And so we've been using it slowly for improvements in that park, primarily the benches, which John and Jim Mead, our volunteer lead there at the park, they purchase the materials, they build the bench, they pour the concrete pad to put the bench in, hauled all that stuff up. A lot of it's up the hill in Grace Cole. It's pretty impressive. They've put in 6 so far, or it will be 6.
4.
And it will be 6 eventually, yeah.
And I would throw out, and we work with Corey and Public Works, to do that, and Public Works gets us the logs and et cetera. I mean, we're not just randomly going up the hill and putting in benches.
No, we go through a process. We never forget, even though we were on the ground at the beginning to save that land, we never forget it's a city park. And we always need to be working with the city and the Parks Board on what the priorities are and what's going to happen next. I think 5 Acre Woods is so much newer, and there's been so much enthusiastic effort there. It might be time to have a big Parks Board city stewardship meeting about that park in particular, because you know what we do next there is a big question kind of hanging out there.
I would say, like, as soon as the Lakefront Park project gets settled, then that would be the next big project for us. And we have to let the resident who lives there live out her life.
Time. Yeah.
We have time to, because we'll have to do a whole new concept plan and figure out how to incorporate that.
Yeah.
Can I ask back to the fundraising? I know you guys have your hands in so many different avenues. Are there like certain times in the year where you do a big push for fundraising, or how do you guys go about doing that?
You know, in the last few years, we haven't done big fundraising events, but we have in the community donors. You know, there's people that give monthly.
Okay.
And there's people that will do a fairly large annual donation. So
okay,
that's been our main source.
Okay.
Yeah, we did. We were kind of known for our. I flipped past that slide pretty fast, but I know Maurice, I know Linda have been to these, and Maurice, he and his wife were our headline singers and performers at one of our events. We used to do big fundraising community events at the Civic Club and a couple other venues, but mostly at the Civic Club on an annual basis. But our last one was literally the leap day, right before everything shut down for the pandemic. And we have not had an event since. So, you know, there's a number of reasons for that. One is that we've had enough money for what we have been prioritizing right now. And anytime we didn't have the money, we have written grants and received grants. We're regularly grant funded by King County Waterworks and other sources for little projects here and there. And our collaboration with UW Bothell and our other research scientists, they bring in money that we collaborate on. So we actually have quite a bit of reach for the amount of income we've had in the last few years.
The salmon mural, which that was Kim's, we did raise money for that.
Hey, it's not in the slideshow. I just realized that.
Yeah, I noticed it too. But
that slideshow needs updating.
Yes. But you know, we did that as a special event and we raised money, and basically it was a break even. And we, you know, paid the artist, etc. So I drive past that 4 days a week at least. Sure. I like seeing it. Puts a smile on my face.
Yeah. And we worked with that artist to purchase 2 salmons for future media use. We'll get there one day, but
yeah.
That's right. You have the Climate Hub salmon, right?
So this is to future mascots to be used.
Yeah.
I asked because I know there's been just such a big flux of new families coming in just in the last 2-3 years before the pandemic, or sorry, right after the pandemic and during. And so many of these families use, I'm thinking namely 5 Acre Woods, and just love that I think, you know, if you guys were to do some kind of push soon, there's so many families that I think could get plugged in that are newer to the area that would love to support.
We would love that.
Your cause. So
we would love to be able to reach a new audience in some ways. We have had our mailing list of like 600 to 700 steadily for decades. And it, you know, there's turnover, it changes, people move, people come, you know, go. But really, we would love to reach a whole new audience and young families. And that's where we see the Cub Scout troops, the Scout troops coming in. It's great. They volunteer in the parks. So yeah, I'm interested in your ideas. And people ask me all the time, when is the next community fundraiser? So we might have to cook one up. Any other questions?
Well, I'll throw out real quick, just, I think you've already touched on a lot of them, but any other, I don't know, top priorities as how you think about working with, I mean, in particular, the Parks Department within the city, and how we as the Parks Board can help you with that. Anything that's on your list that we haven't
I
talked about
know
already?
Linda and John were cooking up something at Blue Heron Park. We have, because of our grant, I want to say obligation or our pledge related to the grants for 5 Acre Woods and Grace Cole. That's where our volunteer emphasis has been, but we are not opposed. We are open to helping out in other parks. And so Linda approached us, and Linda and John have been talking about the needs at Blue Heron Park for one. And our Earth Day events have been at Whispering Willows Park.
Yeah, I'll throw out one other as well, Tyler, which is for Grace Cole. At some point, it'd be really nice to know where the boundaries really are. And, you know, there's potentially a right of way that could be cut through. I mean, this is a discussion we've had with Corey and Mark Hoffman, but there's potential that people can access the park in a different way. And again, it's not always clear to Jim and I when we're working, what is the actual, it was surveyed at one point, but it's hard to tell now. And so, and we discussed this with the city in June, so.
Yeah, specifically, there's a way that you could access the park from Sheridan Heights, which right now, the only way to access Grace Cole is from the north. It would really improve the park use, and actually people do cut through from yards and things. There's potential access from Shoreline and from Sheridan Heights. So if we could get those surveys and know that we're on solid ground, so to speak, then maybe
we don't want to do any guerrilla trail making or anything. Right. That wouldn't be appropriate. Others have.
And as far as 5 Acre Woods goes, one of the needs, besides getting the black locusts out of there and planting the cedars, is the wetland area. And we had a hope maybe of split rail fencing down there, just to keep people. We've had problems. People do cut through from 40th down through 5 Acre Woods up into the neighborhood behind Lake Forest Park Elementary, kind of. And there's kids on bikes who go through there. That's a pretty delicate wetland area with skunk cabbage and other, wetland species. So it might be a place for a split rail fence. We've mentioned that before. And a cistern. We just talked to Chris Corwell. Is that his name, Corey?
Yeah.
The new green stormwater guy, about a cistern at 5 Acre Woods. And it would probably be collecting off of the roof at the Rose property, either her garage roof or the house, probably the garage, into a cistern so that we can water the things that are getting planted in 5 Acre Woods. Because right now they're hand watering, they're hauling water, which is pretty hard work.
Well, and if there's a house, like there should be able to get water out there at some point easily.
Yeah, and it's pretty low impact to, install a cistern off a roof system. And plus that would put it, if you look at the topography, that would put it probably higher than down in the ravine or down in the area where we want to plant those big cedars. So anyway, all those things are cooking along.
Josh?
Yeah, I was talking to someone a couple weeks ago who was asking, remembered being able to, I don't know if it was official at the time, or maybe it was just always sort of trespassing, but remembered they were saying before annexation, which would have been before it was a park, but remembered cutting through from the Sheridan Heights into Grace Cole and was sort of wondering why they couldn't do that anymore. So you sort of answered that. But there are long memories in this town, and there are people who resent that they can't do it now. So which I guess connects then to the other part of the thing I was thinking about was with the Prost plan and with other talk about rights of way and other things and trying to connect the parks. I wonder, has the Stewardship Foundation, and are there things that the Stewardship Foundation and the Parks Board or other parts of the city should be coordinating more than has already done, perhaps, to move that forward?
One area, although I don't think it is a Parks Board area, is McKinnon Creek. And that's the city, the water district, and the neighbors. And there is some right of way, some city owned land in there too. There's been a lot of demand for a long time to have a throughway from, it'd basically be horizon view on the power line down through McKinnon Creek Ravine, and that leads you then on to the town center. Yeah, that's an area, there's been a lot of politics surrounding that. It's been complicated. It's come and go over the years. We've had big pushes for it. We've done some work on the lower reaches. And I don't know that it's in the park venue, the Parks Board though, because it's not parkland.
I mean, we are also recreation, so I suppose
maybe
it still qualifies, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And I guess the other part of that question was just to what degree, because obviously the Stewardship Foundation is its own entity. It's not, it doesn't have to follow the city's priorities, but to the degree that the Prost plan does sort of lay out priorities and future directions, to what extent that has shaped the Stewardship Foundation's planning, and to what extent it's sort of two tracks that may overlap.
That's a good question.
chance.
I don't know how to answer that. A volunteer entity like the foundation, we have a turnover. We have people coming in with new project ideas. We have people, leading up. We really need people who bring in the energy and interest to drive something. So
yeah, I think when we do update the Prost plan, just making sure like Stewardship Foundation and other organizations like them, stakeholder groups, are just more involved in the process than maybe previously. But
yeah, I mean, we definitely as individuals and as a board have commented and been involved in development of those. I can think especially of like the Urban Forest Task Force back in the day. Pretty much the overlap of the Stewardship Foundation and the people who developed that plan is almost probably like 80% same people. And I guess we don't so much as look at the Prost plan and then decide what we're gonna do. But I feel like the partnership with the city is so strong, especially, it comes and goes. I think it changes over the years, depending on administration and who the mayor is and things like that, and the budget situation. But in general, we're pretty much side by side with the city on same priorities, I think.
I might throw out one for parks. I think we've been highly correlated with the city. I've been on the board 5 years. The one place where I do remember a disconnect was with the Sound Transit environmental issues. Certainly initially we were not at odds with the city, but we weren't in sync either. And I would say the Stewardship Foundation, we're an environmental watchdog in some cases, and we were in that case, I think. I don't know, Kim, if you concur on that.
I would agree, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not that we wanted to get crosswise with the city, it's just some of the things going on with that development. We did not want to see 490 trees tore down. So I just leave that one.
I mean, in general, advocacy can sometimes cross into, you know, a little bit of disagreement. But we have a very defined mission and we try to stay in our lane. So where that, you know, interconnects with the city departments, we try to maintain good and positive working relationships.
I'll say one other because should be, and Lori Bodie became my hero because she
She
spoke
did.
up with strong
our
voice,
hero.
as did others, but she in particular, I'll never forget that. So anyway, there you go.
Well, great. I thought that was fantastic. Thank you for those ideas, and the just calling attention to a lot of them. I think gets our thought process going. So, any other final questions or comments for that section?
Well, before I sign
Please.
off,
Oh yeah.
I want to invite all of you to an event that we're planning. I think many of you know Red Sky Gallery at the town center, which is owned by and run by Debbie Tomasi. She just recently had a tragedy and her husband died. So she's been talking to us about doing an event there. She often hosts our annual meetings, but she has a current art exhibit right now called Trees as Sacred Beings. And it's focused on trees and it's stunning, beautiful artwork. And so in order to help continue this sort of collaboration that we're trying to build with new members of the Parks Board and also the Tree Board and the City Council and other city staff and other volunteers in the community, we're going to host an event. It's just a reception at Red Sky with this beautiful tree art. And it's just a chance for all of us to actually meet in person. Like some of you I have met in person, but it'd be nice to actually chat in a more casual setting. We'll have dessert and drinks, and it's an open invitation, but we do hope to kind of get RSVPs so we know how much food to have. Let me share my screen and I will show you if I have it.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw my last email, Kim, but technically right now we have a park board meeting during the same time, so maybe.
Oh, it's the same night? Oh, darn. Well, we only had one choice.
I know. Maybe we can rearrange our meeting, we'll see, but just.
Or you can come over. It's 7 to 9, so yeah, shoot, it's kind of the exact time. Let me see if I can share this. It's not coming up, but let me try again. It wants to show the PowerPoint again. Oh, here it is.
Well, also, if we're all there, or if 4 of us are there, then for OPMA reasons, we would need to notice it anyhow.
Well, I think Kim's inviting council already, so, and I think the tree board, so we'll do a public notice for city.
Yeah, it is. The mayor is invited. He said he's available. The city council, some of our legacy, like our advisory board members and the parks board. So here's the flyer. Can you see that? It's just we really do want to build connections with the other volunteers in the city who care about the same things that we care about. And here's an example of her beautiful artwork. And Janelle, the artist, will actually be there. So it's a way to show support for Debbie at Red Sky when she's going through a hard time, but also to build community among, I want to say, the tree lovers of Lake Forest Park. So anyway, Corey has it to actually email this out to you so you can individually RSVP or however you want to do it. So.
And you guys will be at a picnic in the park September 6th.
Yes, we will. For sure.
All right. That sounds great. I have to say I love the concept of it. Corey, maybe we should talk a little bit about scheduling when we get there.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't realize it was the exact same night, but I had two choices.
There's
of
always something,
days.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I am going to sign off, not sit through the rest of the meeting. I don't know what John's going to do. But thank you so much for having us. It's good to see you all.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, John.
All right. Well, next on the agenda is Blue Heron Park. Is that Linda?
Okay.
There you go.
Well, just to give you guys a little bit of background, I've spent about 35 years trying to get something done in Blue Heron Park, which doesn't exactly make me look like a big success, but I then turned my attentions to Animal Acres and went that way. But now is the time to really take on that piece of land that we really need to do something about. It's on the salmon spawning creek. It's right at the beginning of the city, and I really foresee that it could be the most welcoming little area, could be wonderful use of education about environment and that kind of thing. And so I'm diving back into it, and I'm hoping that the park board will join me in some way or another to see how we can, you know, take something that's been so badly neglected for so long and see what we can do to turn it into something vibrant and, you know, welcoming and important to the city. I'm sorry I didn't get with Corey first about showing you the map and what we were going to do, but I've had some family stuff and it just, I wasn't able to do it. Maybe next month. But what, and also I'm working with John from the Stewardship Foundation on getting this together. I've got Public Works from the city is helping us. We have actually located water on the property. So that's going to make a huge difference in what we're going to be able to do and to maintain over there. So we're going to start. It'd make more sense if you could see a map again. I'm sorry I don't have it. We're going to start with one area that's the most in need. And we'll start with cleaning it up and taking a look at what we've got that we can actually utilize, developing a planting plan and starting to do some restoration planting work. And I've got people involved from other areas, from the garden club and some master gardeners. So we've got a nice, vibrant group of people that are coming together with different skills, different ideas, different experiences that I think will really take this little park and, you know, turn it into something wonderful. The plan is to go slowly. We've had some semi-disasters in Animal Acres as we tried to expand things too quickly, and I don't see that as being very valuable at all. So we're going to work carefully, section by section, to get this park to look the way it should. Currently, it doesn't even have the sign, which had been run over by a drunk driver and is now being repaired. So we've got a lot to do. We also have black locust in this park, which had been taken out a number of years ago, but the second level of taking out black locust is a second people that take it out who are specifically, you know, knowledgeable in how to do this have to come back and do it again in order to try to get the rest of it out, because it's on runners and it's everywhere, and that never happened. So it all came back. So now I'm trying to negotiate with the city to get their support in getting these qualified people back in to do it the right way this time. So a lot of things coming up, a lot of things going on. I'm happy to share. Anybody who wants to take a walk through with me, or, you know, who's interested in any way, I'm happy to have you involved. So just let me know what you're thinking, and hopefully next month I'll be able to show you guys a map, and it will make more sense when you see what the layout of the land is. So That's all I have right now, but thank you for letting me bring that here.
No, that's great, Linda. Thank you so much. And yeah, I think I'm a visual kind of guy, so I'd love to see them, and I like maps anyway. So that would really help me, and to kind of imagine what you're looking at and the scope. I guess it's the scope of it also. But I do like to hear that you've got the city already in the loop, and the garden club, and the Stewardship Foundation. Like those are all great sources of ideas and muscle to do the work. So I like it. Any
Yeah,
other? Oh,
Rotary
please.
involved now.
Oh, great. Any other questions or comments from the rest of the board? All right. Well, keep us posted, I guess. Okay, sounds great. All right, Corey, I think, are you up next with, oh, go ahead.
If I could just jump in real quick and
Yeah.
I'm also involved with the Climate Hub because I'm part of the Climate Action Group. And what we're developing on that wall where that beautiful mural is, by the way, that Debbie's vision, we've got a large area that's going to have all kinds of information about what's going on environmentally in the city. So people, organizations, groups can have notices, they can have photographs, articles, all these things. And I think that would be something that the park board might want to think about utilizing to let another way to let the community know what we're doing. And it's so right there when you come in to the commons. I think it would be a really, really good thing to develop some information that we want to share with the community there. So that's another, just a little piece of what I'm doing.
Yeah, that sounds good. Any other questions or comments for Linda on those two ideas or projects?
No, I'll just say, if you haven't been to the Commons and seen either of the new mural additions, you guys should go by. It looks more vibrant in there, so.
Yeah, beautiful.
You know. So yeah, summer events, picnic in the park, September 6th. Come on out, bring your families and friends. We'll have food trucks, concerts, kid stuff. It's very kid focused, so what's the hours on that? 11 to 3. Yeah, thank you. And then we'll have Paws in the Park, October 18th. Yeah, this year. And we had Battle of the Bands this past weekend. It was we made it through. I'll just say that. Oh no. We had some sound issues. We had some beer garden issues, but we made it through. First year back. It'll be better next year. It was a good event though. There's probably like 400 people there, so.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. I think we have some electrical issues on our sound box, which my new park board member Maurice might be helping me out with.
It's good to know somebody. Corey, I think next on the list is, oops, I just clicked somewhere
Yeah.
weird. Lakefront Park, right?
Yeah. I don't really have a whole lot to update right now, but with the park board, parks, the King County Parks Levy passing, Rod Dabowski did get us $4 million for the project. So we are very close to being fully funded right now. So we're going, council gave us the go ahead, we're continuing design. So we're still on track. Amber will be back in October. So we'll be able to see some more design updates, and still looking at going out for bid early 2026, and construction will start, so.
I mean, sounds like progress. And when it comes down to it, the money is kind of an important part. So that's a quick update, but a pretty important one. So thank you.
Yeah. And then I'll just start with other. The Horizon View art installation project is going. The concrete guy will be out there early September to pour the pad for it to let cure for a while, and we're looking at installation of the actual art later October. And so they did a community like help some of the like mural pieces at the bottom, different glass stuff. They did a 2-day community, helped out with doing some of the mosaic stuff. So she took those and she'll be implementing those to the ground. Amy may see that the trash can's already been moved from one corner over to the other near the pickleball courts. So the pickleball group will be getting a fantastic art piece to look at.
Well, we don't want to look at it. We want to... No, that's great. Yeah, we saw them moving the trash cans today. There was quite a group moving them. So yes, that was great.
Where exactly will the art be? It'll be like across the corner from the pickleball tennis courts, on the main field area. So that makes the corner. Oh, nice. Probably see it from my kitchen. You probably know it. Cool.
Anything else in the other category of our, oh, Josh.
Yeah, I just had my sister-in-law put me in touch with Robin Rote, who does Pilates class, has been doing it, sort of streaming it on from the beach club. And Instagram has changed the way that they do things and is not able to do the live Instagram video, and was wondering if there would be some way to partner with the city. And I was suggesting maybe doing it from various of the parks to help promote different parks, and then use our Instagram feed, which would be large enough to actually still do the Instagram live. And it seemed like an interesting idea. I don't know if there are any obstacles to doing that. It seems like a sort of extension of yoga in the park and a way to promote the parks and connect the community to things. But just wanted to throw that out there and see if it was something worth continuing to explore.
What activity did you say it was?
It's a Pilates. So she sets up a tripod and videos herself and sort of leads people through a workout.
And it's wonderful. It's a great class. She's wonderful.
Yeah, I definitely can see how we can figure out how the park board to partner with her / Rotary or whatever, however we want to figure that out. The Instagram live thing is a different, we'll have to look at that, but.
Yeah, I mean, there may be other ways to host it also. I think that's just been the convenient way for her to do it, but I don't know if it's through the Rotary or if it's just like a thing that she does.
No, it's private. She just does it herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Instagram kicked her off because she only had 500 followers and they told her she needed 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we may be able to do that, or do it over Zoom, or do it over some other platform. It doesn't. I don't think it has to be Instagram. It just, if it is, then it can join the other videos that she already has up.
Mm-hmm.
And if a Parks Board member was there with her, or someone from the city, then we could do a little talk about which park we're in that day, and
I'll do that.
There you go.
Yeah, Linda was a participant in yoga in the parks when we moved through those. So yeah, I definitely see we can figure out some sort of partnership.
Good.
Awesome.
I have a random question. Is this okay? Okay. Forgive me if this already exists, and if it already exists, then allow me to promote it. But I've been thinking about my kids have been trying to do, like a library list where they read all the books, and then you get, let's say, a water bottle or something like that. Not that we would need to promote a water bottle, but do you guys have a list of like all the parks? And maybe that's something that is sent out to kids, like, hey, over the next couple months for summer, make sure you hit all of these different parks. I know you guys do such a great job with all the stories in the parks, but if there's a way to like connect a list for kids to, actively check off and promote each of the parks. Do you have something like that?
No, but that's something we've talked about in a similar but different way for many, many years.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely some sort of like park scavenger hunt or like
Mhm.
some sort of something like that. Yeah.
On your to do. Cool. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, I appreciate that idea, and actually, I like just the simplicity of a checklist. Actually, I think we've gone from that simple idea to much more elaborate ones. So maybe we just need to go back to a checklist.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
list of all the parks would be good and where they're located.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have two things. First of all, Corey, I don't know how we do this, but the picklers up at Horizon View would like to get money for windscreens. And they're not very expensive. So tell me how we do that, and I will apply for whatever I have to for the group.
Is this something you guys would be willing to fundraise, or you're asking us to purchase?
Well, we'd like to ask the city, since we bought the nets and, did everything and the paint and paid for the painter. And I mean, then you guys came in and did it the second time. So yeah, we'd like to ask the city if we can get a couple $100 for the, and we also would like a bench to sit down. That would be nice. So there's that. So if you want to communicate with me directly, Corey, that would be fine. I didn't know whether it's a Parks Board issue or a, just a city, you as the liaison issue. I didn't know. So that's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah, no, this is a fine avenue to get the conversation going. And
Okay, right.
Now remembering your email.
Yeah, that would be great. The second thing I want to bring up is that September 23rd is Rosh Hashanah. It is the holiest night, one of the holiest nights of the year in the Jewish calendar. So if we could change the meeting, I would be very appreciative. I felt bad that the Stewardship Foundation also is having a big event that night. I'm like, somebody didn't look at a calendar very well. So I think we should be respectful of everybody's needs. So
yeah, I'll send a survey out to reschedule September meeting. And
yeah,
I'm also not gonna lie, my September's a little bit insane, so we might need to take September off and just meet back in October, but I'll look at all that and get back to the group.
Okay.
Great. Thank you all.
Well, that looks to be the end of our formal agenda, unless anybody has anything else for the other category.
Richie, do you want to say anything about the storyboards? They've been Richie's relooked them. She switched them around. They've been great.
Yeah, what I noticed is the Grayskull seems to be holding up, although the previous set got vandalized. I was able to locate the panels that got pulled out. The Scout, Eagle Scout, is it Eagle Scout or something? Scout Park, the small park, has the panels intact, and the ones at Lion Creek is also intact. And so far we've had 28 respondents to, are asked to provide us with feedback. 10 indicated that they went and read it with their kids, and 18 read it as just adults. So that was the feedback is interesting. I gave Corey Corey, through Corey's email, access to the feedback, and we can have a summary of the content next board meeting. The Animal Acres I just saw has several missing panels, so I'm going to pull it out. It's too bad, but yeah, so that's what we have for the and so far the feedback has been really good for the story walks.
And Richie also coordinated with the library to make sure we weren't stepping on their toes. So they have a story board up at Horizon View right now.
Right now, yeah.
She moved the Horizon View to a different park. So I think good, learn some things. We'll bring it back next year if we can in some sort of fashion.
Just a comment of encouragement. Thanks you guys for doing that. My kids loved it. The first story that you guys put up in Horizon View, it was in Spanish. And it's funny because I'm actually trying to teach my children Spanish and they're terrible at it. I'll be honest, I'm pretty terrible at it. And it was a lot of conversation for us. And a lot of their little friends too. And they're pretty protective about people touching them. So thank you guys for that. It creates a lot of really cool conversations, whether you are just visiting the park one time or you frequent there daily like I do. So thank you guys for that. That's very cool.
Yeah, that was Richie. So well done. That was a good use of the work that you've done elsewhere and spreading it to our parks. Fantastic. So thank you for that. Great idea. And effort, not just idea, but actually doing the effort too. All right, if there's anything else, this is your chance. Last call on the other category. Otherwise, I guess, Corey, I'll ask you if there's any public comment.
No public in attendance.
Okay. Well, with that, I guess we will we'll look for Corey's message in the next, I don't know, few weeks about rescheduling the next meeting. And we will see you all in September, October-ish. I'll leave it open. Thank you for participating. Good to see you all, and take care. I hereby adjourn the meeting.
Bye,
Have fun.
everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Val, good seeing you.